Coming up on CBC Vancouver News. Questions continue to swirl about the sudden departure of Surrey's top cop.
This was a shock, a surprise to every observer of what's going on in the Surrey Police Service.
The calls for transparency are mounting. Plus, the upheaval at the force comes as a spree of shootings in Surrey raises questions about public safety.
It has become more brazen. It's more out in public. These guys don't care whether there's an innocent victim of the public that is killed as a result of the shootout. This is the new reality.
As the shooting death of a teenager marks the city's 13th homicide. And a new BC Ferry surcharge will soon be hitting travelers' wallets.
Oh my God, we're already getting gouged enough.
I like to keep it affordable because more and more of us are struggling.
As fuel prices spike, so does the cost of sailing.
This is CBC Vancouver News.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Michelle Gassoub. More details are emerging about the departure of the city's top cop. Chief Constable Norm Lipinski left the Surrey Police Service following a closed board meeting Friday. As John Hernandez reports, calls are mounting for more transparency from the board.
Former Surrey Police Chief Norm Lipinski has yet to speak publicly about his abrupt exit from the Surrey Police Service. But we have heard from the man who helped hire him, Wally Opal, who says the chief never wanted to leave.
He was in the middle of an 8-year contract. He didn't want this. He wanted to see the transition go forward.
We'll move make a motion to hold a meeting in a closed session.
The decision to remove Lipinski was made at a closed police board meeting Friday. The board chair, Harley Chappell, couldn't make it.
And I was assured, no, it's just an information session and we need to talk. Okay. That obviously wasn't the case.
The police board confirmed Lipinski's exit on Tuesday, but no reasons have been given why. Chappell then resigned out of protest.
The police board is the voice of the public. So the fact that Harley Chappell wasn't there when this very important decision was made tells you all that you want to need to know about the board and about the decision.
CBC News has reached out to the board for comment. Meanwhile, community leaders also want answers.
If the police chief is let go of, the public needs to know that the board is aware of where the deficits were, if there were any, and then that they're going to be addressed when they hire the next chief.
Still, Sims says mounting extortions and gang violence could warrant a leadership change.
I think people think that politicians got in there and they did it. And I've been a politician, and I can tell you, once a board is appointed, legally, it's the board's responsibility to fire, hire, and do oversight.
But other public safety advocates think the chief should have been given more time.
The extortion rates were coming down, so he should have been given enough chance to complete his task at hand.
We once again reached out to Surrey's Mayor Brenda Locke on Wednesday. Her team told us she traveled out of province and wasn't available. John Hernandez, CBC News, Surrey.
Now, there are still a lot of questions about the sudden departure of Surrey Police Service Chief Norm Lipinski. Katie DeRosa has more on what role the province played and how it will impact the transition from RCMP to a municipal force, and ultimately, what might happen next.
The departure of Surrey's top cop, Norm Lipinski, has been shrouded in secrecy. The confusion happens while BC's second most populous city is in the middle of a fraught transition from the RCMP to a municipal force that Mayor Brenda Locke didn't want. And it's while the city is tackling extortion and gang violence. Here's what we know and what we don't know. The biggest question is whose call was it to oust the Surrey police chief? Lipinski and Locke have clashed repeatedly over the years. The mayor opposed the transition to a municipal force, a fight she ultimately lost. The police chief often publicly contradicted her about the transition costs. The two were at odds last month over Lipinski's decision to redeploy 8 officers in the gang unit to staff the Cloverdale district. The two said as much in dueling press releases. Locke asked the board for an immediate review of that decision. Lipinski said he had no choice. He said he had to ensure the Cloverdale district had enough officers to handle the extortion crisis. Earlier this year, he had asked the province for more time in completing the takeover of the Cloverdale district from the RCMP. The province said no. So what about the province's role in all of this? Premier David Eby is trying to distance himself from the controversy, saying he hadn't been fully briefed on what happened.
The province of BC has been too involved in policing in Surrey for too long, that it's time for the local community to take responsibility for their own police force.
But Harley Chappell, the police board chair who quit after being left in the dark about Lipinski's ouster, and independent MLA for Surrey Cloverdale, Eleanor Sturco, say it's rich for the province to suddenly take a hands-off approach. Both say the province spent years steering the ship on Surrey's police transition and owes the public transparency about the shakeup. Public Safety Minister Nina Krieger would not agree to an interview today. And what about the cost? It's unclear if Lipinski received a severance or was forced to sign a non-disclosure agreement. His salary was a base of $285,000. If he was given 2 years severance, which is standard among police leaders, his departure could cost Surrey taxpayers at least $500,000. Katie DeRosa, CBC News, Victoria.
A teenager has been identified as the victim of a shooting early Sunday morning in Surrey. As Saurabh Sandhu reports, this year more than a dozen homicides have taken place in Surrey, with almost half of them coming in the month of May.
Police say 18-year-old Gaurav Deol was shot to death early Sunday morning, the latest in a spree of violence that saw an uptick in the month of May.
The victim was located inside a vehicle with gunshot wounds. His vehicle had struck multiple cars and ended up in a power pole. Shortly thereafter, there was also a vehicle fire involving a white Toyota SUV, and that has since been linked to the homicide.
It happened near the intersection of 138th Street and 62nd Avenue in Surrey. Police say they are trying to understand the victim's lifestyle and activities leading up to the fatal shooting.
The victim himself does not have a criminal record, and he does not have an obvious tie to organized crime. But we did uncover that he had recent contacts with members associated to organized crime.
Sunday's death marks Surrey's 13th homicide of the year, almost half of them happening in May.
A number of them have by all accounts, been gang-related. Some, as we see far too often, unfortunately, are domestic-related. And so, you know, there's really been a mix this year.
The month began with a shooting in Newton's business complex that left a man dead at his workplace. Just days later, 2 teenage boys were shot and killed in a parking garage. And last Friday, a man was shot and killed by police after he stabbed 2 people with a knife.
It's blatant, it's obvious, nothing subtle about it.
The latest spate of killings comes at a time when the community is already dealing with the extortion crisis, which has plagued the city for more than 2 years now.
It has become more brazen, it's more out in public. These guys don't care whether there's an innocent victim of the public that is killed as a result of the shootout. This is the new reality.
In a statement, BC's Minister for Public Safety and Solicitor General Nina Krieger says the rise in gang shootings in Surrey is incredibly concerning, and that Surrey Police Service and the Combined Forces Special Enforcement Unit are working proactively to address gang activity in the city. Saurabh Sandhu, CBC News, Surrey.
Passengers on BC ferries will have to pay more starting later this month. The Ferry Authority is introducing a surcharge on fares this month, citing higher global fuel costs linked to tensions in the Middle East. As Shivani Joshi reports, travelers are split on the added expense.
Beginning June 16th, BC Ferries passengers will be paying a little more to sail. The corporation is adding a temporary 5% fuel surcharge, saying rising fuel costs tied to the U.S.-Iran conflict have pushed expenses higher. But for many travelers, the bigger concern is what that added cost means for their wallets.
But we're already getting gouged enough.
Well, I like to keep it affordable because more and more of us are struggling financially.
Some passengers say the increase is understandable.
Well, I think the charges are fairly reasonable already, so I have no problems with that because we need to keep this going.
5% fuel charge, they've done it before and they've removed it before.
The temporary surcharge will add just over $1 to a foot passenger fare and nearly $4.50 to the cost of a standard vehicle.
It is a responsible business decision for BC Ferries, and we do hope with the most sincerity that it is temporary, as I said. We would strongly dislike to see that continued unnecessarily.
Experts say events unfolding thousands of kilometers away have immediate impacts here at home because energy markets are globally connected.
So many companies had to pass on higher fuel costs to their customers. And whether it's an airline or a ferry company or a trucking business, we see it across the entire economy.
But even if tensions in the Middle East ease, fuel prices may not come down quickly.
Even if there's a resolution tomorrow, we can fully expect that there will be several more months of elevated prices.
While the surcharge is temporary, BC Ferries says it will remain in place as long as fuel prices stay elevated. For passengers booking summer travel, that means higher fares could be sticking around for the foreseeable future. Shivani Joshi, CBC News, Horseshoe Bay.
Vancouver City Council is getting behind a push for a low-income transit pass. According to advocates, the city is falling behind other major Canadian centres by not offering an affordable pass for all ages. As Amelia John reports, it comes as TransLink fares are going up by about 5% on July 1st.
Vancouver City Council is getting on board with an idea for a low-income transit pass. A motion before Council Wednesday calling for a $25 a month pass for those earning below $40,000 a year. A councillor behind the proposal says some riders are being forced to make tough choices.
They're risking things like not going to interviews, job interviews. They're risking, should I get groceries or should I get a transit pass? They're missing medical appointments and things like that.
Starting July 1st, transit fares will be going up by about 5%. That means a monthly one-zone pass will be going up by about $5, a two-zone pass more than $7, and a three-zone monthly pass more than $10. Transit advocates say it's becoming a barrier for affordability.
People are not asking for a handout. They want to go to work, they want to take care of their families, and transit should not be something denied to people because they can't afford it.
Advocates say Vancouver is the only major city in Canada without a low-income transit pass for all ages, citing programs in Halifax and Calgary. TransLink said in a statement it's in favor of further equity-based transit discounts if supported by government partners. TransLink is not in a financial position to implement further discounts independently. Councillors passed the motion unanimously, but with amendments, with some arguing the need for wider regional support, including at the provincial level. Currently, the province has a bus pass program for people with disabilities and seniors.
This is about equity. This is about social determinants of health, and I know the province takes that very seriously.
Council and staff will now push for a low-income pass by speaking with TransLink, the Mayor's Council, and provincial government. Amelia John, CBC News, Vancouver.
And Steve Jung joins us now with a first look at the weather. Steve, take it away.
Michelle, we're seeing over the next couple of days and overnight a lot more precipitation making its way to BC. As we can see, over the next couple of days, we will see more of that precipitation, including up in parts of the north. But as we get to Saturday and Sunday, we will see more of that making its way to places like southern BC, the south coast, and also in the southeast. And we can see, just based on the coloring here, we'll see some of that even come as snow, just a little bit of snow at some of those higher elevations. So hopefully that could mean a little bit of relief, because we are watching some fire danger around the province. Here's the latest information from BC Wildfire Service. As we can see, moderate to high fire danger in large parts of the province, including up north, and with thunder risk in the forecast during the overnight hours. That could be something that is very tricky to deal with. We'll get into that and the 5-day forecast coming up later in the show.
Thank you, Steve. There's a giant Canadian flag on top of Grouse Mountain. What's it doing there? We have the answers right after the break.
I'm Stephen Quinn, and I love living here in Vancouver, BC. It's a city with world-renowned beauty, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows. In our new daily podcast, This is Vancouver, we're exploring the diverse range of issues and stories in this city, the good, the bad, and everything in between, as told by the people who live it every day. Don't miss This is Vancouver, available wherever you get your podcasts, and I'll talk to you soon.
There's a giant Canadian flag on display on top of Grouse Mountain. So who put it there? And how did it get there? And what's the point? Our Troy Charles chatted with Jessica Chung earlier to uncover the mystery.
Okay, so Troy, I can see that massive flag behind you. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, Jess, this is some serious investigative work going on here. We're at the bottom of the cut. Yesterday, everyone was all in an uproar. What is going on Grouse Mountain? Is that a giant flag? We're here. We can confirm that is a giant Canadian flag on the cut at Grouse Mountain, almost the size of 2 football fields. The flag weighs 3,000 pounds. They say that they put it in here with the World Cup coming to town. They want everyone to feel that Canadian pride, that patriotism. I was riding my bike around the seawall yesterday, and it catches your eye. You can see it from all across Vancouver, Metro Vancouver, Burnaby, and we're here today. They're actually getting a Guinness World Record. They're about about to have the ceremony. They're going to get the Guinness World Record for the largest flag ever displayed on a mountain. And it is 3 times larger than the previous record holder, which was in Mongolia. So a lot of fun stuff going on here at Grouse with this giant Canadian flag.
I'm sure that a lot went into installing this huge flag and a lot of manpower, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't know, and I think a lot of people didn't know when this got installed because it kind of just showed up yesterday. I wasn't sure if they did it, you know, in the dead of night, but they set it up yesterday. It took about 2 hours with 70 people were here. And the thing about this flag, for it to meet the Guinness World Record standard, it has to be one continuous piece of flag. So this is one giant unfurled flag, 160 by 80 meters. And have a listen on how they had to install it.
Essentially, we set up a number of lock blocks around the perimeter with airline cables stretching from lock block to lock block, and we had really strong, essentially carabiners that we clipped into the grommets of the flag to get it, to get it installed, and it took over 100 people.
The other cool note, aside from the Guinness World Record, this is the largest Canadian flag ever produced. In the history of the country, largest Canadian flag. The old record was actually unfurled in Stanley Park in 2019. This is now the largest Canadian flag ever made, and it's right here on the cut at Grouse, and they're thinking it'll be up until the middle of July, around when the World Cup will be wrapping up.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for being out there, Troy. Really appreciate it.
Some 4-legged healthcare workers are on duty in the southern interior. The dogs are trained to sniff for disease. We caught up with the detection dogs in Kelowna.
Can you show me? Where is it? Yes, good boy. This is Kip Kaboon. He's an English Cocker Spaniel. He's 3 years old, and today he is one of the dogs who are looking for C. difficile. It's a bacteria that can make you very sick if you are immune compromised or on cancer medication or antibiotics, all the way to fatal, basically to death. And what these dogs do is they show us where the reservoirs are so that we can clean them up in the environment so that we can keep the spread as minimal as possible. Yeah. Kip basically came to me at 8 weeks old, so we all train our dogs in-house at Vancouver General. Basically, he got certified at around 2 years old, so he's been working. Our dogs do go through a rigorous program in order to do this job. They have to show us their proficiency, their sensitivity and specificity, and then we get tested as a team as well, how well we gel with the dog.
They're such an effective tool. They can do one unit usually in about 15 minutes, so we're able to cover a pretty significant amount to the hospital with the dogs on site today. If they do identify areas of concern on the units, then yes, that absolutely is identified as an opportunity to clean, disinfect, kind of remove the area of concern.
That was so good. You did find it. You did. You found it. Good boy.
The busy harbour of Nanaimo on an overcast day with the BC Gabriola ferry route setting sail for the island. Steve Jung has your full forecast coming up. The Trump administration is planning to hit a dozen countries, including Canada, with a new tariff. The U.S. Trade Representative is accusing the countries of not doing enough to enforce bans on forced labor in supply chains. Ashley Burke explains what this means for Canada and how the Prime Minister has responded to the news.
Is the new U.S. tariff a negotiating tactic? Despite Tuesday's trade talks in Washington, Canada is now on a list of countries Donald Trump plans to hit with new tariffs.
This is not a surprise. It's something that the U.S. has been planning for a few months.
In a new report, Trump's administration is accusing Canada and others of failure to enforce rules to keep out goods made with forced labor, and is proposing an additional 10% levy, but exempting CUSMA-compliant goods.
We support the overall objective, the U.S. action, I should say. And I would note that, in effect, how it's drafted for the vast majority of Canadian trade, it will not have an impact.
Carney now promising to introduce legislation soon to do more to address forced labor.
Canada has a very strong legislative regime against forced labor in supply chains. We don't want any element of forced labor coming in goods and services.
The Conservatives have long called on the government to act.
If you look at the number of shipments that have been stopped in Canada for forced labor versus the United States as an example, clearly the current laws are not working in the way that they should.
Trump's new proposed tariffs are expected to replace old levies the president can no longer use.
Really, this is the response to the strike down by the U.S. Supreme Court of some of the emergency tariffs that President Trump brought in before. They were illegal.
It's coming up as CUSMA is up for review on July 1st, and Trump is reviving his taunts about Canada becoming America's 51st state.
I've said that ever since I've been here. That's a great discussion for the president and the prime minister to have.
Trump's ambassador to Canada reposting Trump's latest comment about the sovereignty of Canada, aimed at the very country he's posted in.
I represent the President of the United States of America. My job is to promote America's views.
The minister handling this file, Dominic LeBlanc, says the U.S. gave Canada a letter of intent about the future of CUSMA. But he says it's up to the U.S. to announce what it says and how it plans to move forward with that trade deal. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
British police are facing backlash over the case of an 18-year-old who died after he was attacked in southern England last December. Police handcuffed and arrested the teen after he'd been stabbed. His killer had falsely accused him of a racist attack. Now, a protest has erupted over the teen's death following the release of police body camera footage. Julia Chapman reports from London, but first a warning that some viewers might find this video distressing.
This protest came about after the release by police of the body-worn camera footage from the night of the incident. Last night, the city of Southampton in southern England saw hundreds of protesters taking to the streets, including some prominent right-wing figures. This goes back to December when Henry Novak, an 18-year-old, was stabbed to death on the streets of Southampton. And when police responded to the call for help, they were initially told that Novak had carried out a racist attack against Vikram Digwa, the man who it later transpired had stabbed Novak 5 times. So when police arrived, they handcuffed Novak and ignored his pleas for help. We can show some footage of that moment now, and a warning to our viewers, it is distressing as it shows the moments after he has been stabbed.
What's happened to you, right? Been stabbed. You've been stabbed? Whereabouts? I don't think you have, mate.
Novak later lost consciousness. The officers tried to revive him. That's when they realized that he had been stabbed, but they were unable to save his life. Now, demonstrators and right-wing politicians here in the UK say this is a result of two-tier policing. They say that the officers in question placed undue prominence on the claim that there had been a racist attack and not enough on the cries for help from Henry Novak. Keir Starmer, the British Prime Minister, has said there are serious questions for the police to answer. There will be an investigation that is ongoing by the police watchdog in England, and one of the elements they're looking at is the potential impact of guidance for police officers about anti-racism.
The attacks directed towards police officers in Southampton last night were disgraceful and completely unacceptable. This is a time for serious work, not rage.
Those words echoing those of Novak's family, who say although they condemn the way their son was treated by the police, they don't want his death to be used as an excuse to stoke tensions here. Julia Chapman, CBC News, London.
Hostilities between Iran and the U.S. have flared again in the Gulf region. It's the latest test of their shaky ceasefire as peace talks remain stalled. Washington says it struck Iranian launch sites in the south of this country, as well as Iranian boats in the Strait of Hormuz, while Iran launched a deadly attack on Kuwait's international airport. Blake Sifton has more on escalating violence in the region.
Now, we've seen multiple exchanges of fire between Iran and the U.S. in recent weeks, but this is a very serious escalation. In addition to the one person killed, authorities in Kuwait said that dozens of people were injured, including passengers, in that Iranian drone attack targeting the country's main civilian airport. They also said that damage was sustained to unspecified diplomatic facilities, and that airport only reopened on Monday after being closed in February when the Iran war began. This was not just an attack and a response. This was a series of back and forth attacks between Iran and the U.S. that escalated and culminated in that attack on the airport. And that's raising fears that eventually one of these exchanges of fire between Iran and the U.S. could spiral out of control and lead to a full-scale return to war. In addition to the attack on Kuwait, Iran also carried out attacks targeting Bahrain, and they said that they will more directly target Gulf countries that host U.S. bases, saying they bear direct and clear responsibility for U.S. attacks. Meanwhile, violence is continuing in Lebanon. Despite a ceasefire being announced by President Trump on Monday, the Israeli military carried out further airstrikes in southern Lebanon, as well as on a vehicle on a highway leading to Beirut. Blake Sifton for CBC News, Tel Aviv.
There's been another seismic shakeup at America's most prestigious and longest-running news and current affairs program. Just days after two correspondents and an executive were fired from 60 Minutes, CBS has also axed veteran correspondent Scott Pelley, a highly respected journalist who'd been with the network since 1989. As Katie Nicholson reports, it happened after a volatile staff meeting with the new 60 Minutes boss.
But there is a North American free trade agreement.
And there shouldn't be. It's a disaster.
But it is there.
Yes.
For 22 years, Scott Pelley was one of 60 Minutes' most vaunted journalists. The CBS News stalwart was also once the network's chief evening news anchor.
For all of us at CBS News all around the world, goodbye and good luck.
But after 37 years with the so-called Tiffany Network, Pelley was fired late Tuesday after clashing with 60 Minutes' new executive producer in a fiery Monday meeting. Leaked audio of the meeting revealed Pelley said his new boss, Nick Bilton, had slender qualifications and would never be welcome. Pelley also has choice words for CBS News' controversial head, Bari Weiss, saying she was brought in to kill the show. Weiss was hired last year as CBS's parent company was acquired by Skydance Media and has since made sweeping changes. Skydance's CEO is a friend and supporter of U.S. President Donald Trump. In a statement after his dismissal, Pelley accused CBS management of trying to inject falsehoods and bias into a politically sensitive story, and the company's new owners of trying to curry a moment of favor with the Trump administration.
Well, I think anytime people who have spent their lives working in a program like 60 Minutes allege that there has been direct editorial interference, that matters.
Alan Thompson is the program director at Carleton University's School of Journalism.
I think for a lot of people, this is the canary in the coal mine for press freedom, accountability journalism, democracy. Clearly, the old guard working at 60 Minutes sees this as an assault.
Bari Weiss did speak with staff this morning and said that Pelley broke the foundation of trust and mutual respect in the newsroom, and leaders could not find a way back with him. Scott Pelley responded to Weiss's assertions, saying she lied and that there was no effort of any kind to find a way back. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Washington.
One of the world's oldest sports is getting a boost from new technology at the upcoming FIFA World Cup. A look at the upgrades next.
So I know when I really like a song, if within the first 3 seconds, I'm already vibing to it.
Hey, I'm Rohith Joseph. Vibin' is the new show all about discovering great new songs and fresh artists from across BC and beyond.
It's not one person dictating what good music is, it's the community sharing what good music is.
Stream Vibin' on CBC Listen.
The 2026 FIFA World Cup will not only be a showcase of soccer's finest, it will also be a display of the most advanced technology in the sport. Dan Burrett shows us how it works and how it could be a game changer.
The connected ball technology tracks the spin, the speed, the point of contact of the ball.
Vancouver's Science World has been transformed into a giant soccer ball on the outside and a FIFA museum on the inside, showcasing the latest technology in the sport.
This innovation puts the tracker at the side of the ball. It increases the accuracy of the data that's collected. It also means that the data can be immediately live streamed to the side of the pitch.
That, combined with semi-automated tech, is meant to speed up decisions made by officials. The average offside call in the 2022 World Cup took 35 seconds. And all 1,200 players will be put through a 3D body scan.
This is very helpful for officiating, but at the end also helpful for football fans, since we can also improve the 3D replays.
FIFA is also using artificial intelligence to help teams with analysis. Before, officials would hand out post-match data in 50 to 60 pages for teams to pore over. Now, coaching staff can generate graphics and simulate tactics within seconds.
So we believe by providing all teams with the same access to such latest technology, we hope we can also democratize the use and the access and the benefits of the latest technology.
The tech boost has some fans pumped.
Seeing as England got robbed for a goal years back without goal line technology, so we're all for it.
The tech might have some limitations, says this sports data scientist.
I'm pretty confident we'll have a moment or two of controversy where now we're not blaming necessarily the referee, we're going to be blaming the technologies.
It's high-tech stakes for the world's largest sporting event. Dan Burrett, CBC News, Vancouver.
A plan is finally in the works to move 30 beluga whales who've been living in limbo at the shuttered Marineland theme park in Niagara Falls, Ontario. The federal government has okayed a proposal to split up the group and send the animals to several different aquariums. But as Lisa Zing reports, there are still many hoops to jump through.
After years of circling these tanks, new homes for 30 remaining belugas at Marineland is closer to becoming reality.
I have signed off on the transportation permits. I think this is a positive step forward.
The federal government has issued some of the permits so the animals can travel across international borders and has endorsed a rescue plan from a U.S.-based group of zoos and aquariums. It would see the animals sent to 5 facilities, 4 across the U.S. Ottawa has just approved another in Spain, the biggest in Europe. Locations it believes they'll be well cared for.
It's the standards in the institutions that I'm satisfied.
The future of the whales at the former amusement park has been uncertain as it faces financial and regulatory hurdles. Last fall, Marineland threatened to euthanize them after the federal government blocked them from going to China. The Spanish aquarium has done these sort of rescues before, saving and housing 2 belugas from the war zone in Kharkiv, Ukraine 2 years ago. The whales spent 12 hours on a cargo truck across the country, then were lifted by a crane onto a 6-seater plane and flown to Valencia, where they're reportedly thriving.
It's challenging, but it's not impossible.
While this particular rescue would be much bigger, this zoology professor says it can be done.
The animals have specific needs whenever they have to be moved, but the knowledge and the science behind it is really very, very well known.
In a statement, a spokesperson for the collective of aquariums told CBC News while they were prepared to activate in a matter of weeks, they don't have full authorization to move the animals yet. That includes import permits, final approvals through the Fisheries Act, and medical checks to make sure the whales are healthy enough to travel. Lisa Shing, CBC News, Toronto.
Steve Jung joins us now for a look at the weather. Steve, how's it looking?
Well, Michelle, let's start here with the latest information we have from BC Wildfire Service regarding fire danger around the province. As we can see, we have quite a lot of elevated danger, some moderate and high danger in large parts of the province, including up in the north, as well as in southern and central parts of the province. We're even seeing some areas where that's being rated as extreme. So that's going to be something that we'll have to really watch going forward, especially considering that during the overnight hours, we do actually have a risk of thunderstorms in some parts of of BC. And if we look here around Prince George, we actually currently have a yellow weather warning from Environment Canada calling for severe thunderstorms this evening and overnight. And we could see that risk in areas like Kamloops and Kelowna, Golden and Cranbrook. And these places, well, in the southeast really, where that includes the Kootenays, the fire risk, according to BC Wildfire Service, is actually quite low. The fire danger is actually quite low. So that's something to be grateful for as we look in the southeast. But in other parts of the province where it is higher, this could actually be something very tricky. If there are lightning strikes, that could lead to the possibility of more fire starts. But otherwise around the province this evening, we do see lots of cloud cover, a chance of showers across much of the province, and that'll take us into tomorrow on Thursday, where we do see more cooler and wetter weather making its way towards the province. And especially as we get through Friday and kind of get towards Saturday and Sunday, we do see a whole lot more rain coming to the province, especially for the south coast, southern parts of the province, and the southeast, as well as Vancouver Island. A lot more rain coming over the course of the weekend. So hopefully that'll bring some relief to the areas that are drier, that are experiencing that higher fire danger. And we can see from the map here, some of it even falling possibly as just a little bit of snow, including up in the north, as well as in some areas of higher elevation. Let's take a look now at the accumulations that we're expecting for the south coast. We're not getting a whole lot as we go through Thursday. As we can see, pretty minimal amounts, but coverage over a large part of the south coast and on Vancouver Island. But it's really as we get to Friday where we begin to see more rain covering the area, coming towards the area, and more of that accumulation in some places. We'll see more of it into Fino as well as up in Port Hardy on Vancouver Island. Taking a look at temperature highs for Thursday, we will see things start cooling down just a little bit. As we can see, 25 degrees in Kamloops and 25 in Kelowna, 21 in Revelstoke, so a little bit on the hotter side there. But as we get to Friday, things will start cooling down a little bit more, which coincides with what we're expecting, that forecast, and that chance of showers coming towards the province as we get a little bit closer to the weekend. Let's take a look now at the 5-day forecast. Chance of showers to carry us through the later part of this week. Chance of showers on Saturday, but a pretty nice day on Sunday. Then as we get to Monday and a new week, we have some more rain.
Okay, so some January conditions going into the weekend, but many of the parts of the province need it. So
absolutely.
Thanks so much, Steve.
My pleasure.
A Vancouver artist is showcasing his art in a part of Yaletown ahead of the FIFA World Cup. We'll show you his work next.
Hi, I'm Amy Bell, and this is your CBC Inbox.
Celebrate Filipino Heritage Month with CBC at Pinoy Festival 2026. Join us on June 20th and 21st at Burnaby Swangard Stadium for a weekend of vibrant traditions, live music, authentic food, and community pride. Event info at pinoyfestival.ca. And never miss a special programming series, event, or contest. Subscribe to CBC's e-newsletter and keep connected with us.
The first of 4 new Island-class ferries has arrived in Victoria. The vessel is set to start service between Gabriola and Nanaimo in the coming weeks. Claire Palmer has the details.
This is the brand new Island Husalahal, and BC Ferries promises it's going to bring a quieter and more environmentally friendly ride from Gabriola to Nanaimo and back. This new plug-in hybrid ferry is capable of operating without diesel.
An electric ferry is a wonderful thing, and we've been looking forward to an electric ferry for a long time.
But that electric ferry is going to take a while to come online. BC Ferries is still in the process of building the needed infrastructure, and Earl says as exciting as it is, without the infrastructure in place to charge the vessel, it's going to be much of the same.
When they've got the wires in place to make it electric, that, I think, will be a huge story. This is a step in that direction, but it's not there yet.
But more excitement can be felt up island. Gabriola's current ferry, the Island Quaguis, will be heading north to service the route between Quadra and Cortez Islands, almost doubling vehicle and weight capacity. Residents there say it's about time the route gets a much-needed upgrade.
I'm excited for the possibility of only having maybe a 2-hour wait instead of a 4 or 6 hour wait like we get sometimes.
Sachs says it will help with traffic congestion and make life a little easier for Cortesians.
I am very thankful that BC Ferries has heard the struggles of locals living on remote islands all around BC because they are supposed to be our highways. And it doesn't feel like a highway when you feel trapped sometimes. And so I'm really thankful that they've made it a priority.
Right now, the new ferry is going through a series of final safety checks before it will start running the 25-minute ferry route. Claire Palmer, CBC News, Nanaimo.
Ahead of the FIFA World Cup, Vancouver artist and devoted sports fan Seth Book will be transforming a Vancouver city block into a vibrant community hub in collaboration with the Yaletown BIA. Take a look at what he's got in store.
It's been months and months of preparation. I have seen it on my iPad, I have seen it in my VR headset, I've seen it printed out, and now it's finally going on the walls. I am locked in, I'm still going, and I cannot wait for the city to see what I've been working on. My name is Seth Book, and I am an artist and illustrator, and I run my own creative studio called 800K. We are in the middle of painting a plaza mural covering 6 wall surfaces, 1 full city street block floor surface, ahead of the World Cup in the heart of Yaletown, covering roughly 70 or 80 years worth of soccer memories and history. Once the piece is completed, it will be a space for the community to join and really engulf themselves in the spirit of the World Cup. I counted, I have about 58 unique moments or inspirations from players throughout World Cup history that I feel like I'm using to try and tell the story of global soccer spirit. Public art's an interesting thing. It poses a lot of new challenges that are not present in the sanctity of your own studio by yourself. There's been a lot of lying on the ground and painting and tracing and chalking. Day one, I painted for probably 13 hours. I've just tried to really mix up the positions that I'm sitting or standing or crawling on to do this project. I've been fortunate to not actually be doing the project alone. I'm really lucky to have a great community of people around me. My family and my friends are really supportive of my work. It is so much fun to do it with people that you love. Public art definitely poses interesting opportunities for meeting new people. I think the best part is I have some Yaletown locals that clearly walk their dog through the area every day, and I've had repeat visitors that will come say, oh, that's coming along so nicely. Like, I remember yesterday when you had just this bit done. I think this is maybe just their dog walking route, but part of me thinks that they do want to come back to see how it's going, and I can't wait to show them what it looks like when it's done. Combining my two passions for sports and art has been a turbulent journey, actually. They are two things I have always been really passionate about, but they're also two things that I feel like I have suppressed in different ways, shapes, or forms throughout my life. I think I dabbled in some of this kind of artwork when I was in art school, but it didn't feel right. It didn't feel like it was appreciated that much, and so I think it got suppressed a little bit there. I think even when I graduated and was working more in a marketing position, I didn't even really call myself an artist for a few years sometimes. Because of that, when I started 800K and I dove into this art practice, I decided that if I want to work in a space, I need to work in a space. And so while I still do other work that isn't exclusively sports-based, this kind of work is my favorite, and I'm not scared to say that. And people can tell. When I first started working on this project with Yaletown, I think that's where it built from, was my energy towards the subject and my passion about my artwork that is in this field. That's where I remember that this is where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be doing.
Thanks for being with us tonight on CBC Vancouver News at 6. You can watch this newscast on CBC Gem, that's our free app, as well as on YouTube and our website, cbc.ca/BC. I'll have your next local news at 11 o'clock right after the National. Have a good night.